Before Restore, I think my life was fairly normal. It was all internal that I felt like my struggle. I had a lot of compulsive thoughts, just feeling really at the mercy of them, feeling like they would just flow and I had no control in any setting. I would be thinking about all the what ifs, whether they be future or past. If I had done something differently, would it have gone this way? Or if I can do something differently, will I feel better of this? Just to the point that I kind of felt like I was drowning, because then that would be followed up by shame for not being able to focus, whether that be in a sermon or at my job or whatever I was doing, and then guilt for, whatever I was daydreaming about, fantasizing about, whatever that was. I just felt really overwhelmed all of the time. I think my favorite thing in learning about God's story, I was confident that his character wasn't dependent on my circumstances, that his patience with me never wavered. When I was actively rebelling, he was equally as patient as he is now when I'm actively seeking him. And I loved and I found it really sweet that God's desire was never for me to just turn off these thoughts, to turn off these yearnings. He didn't get annoyed with my thoughts, but he wanted to satisfy them. He wasn't frustrated or irritated, but he wanted to meet me in those things, to satisfy them completely, to calm my thoughts, not just to take them away. One of my favorite things that we do in Restore is the Psalm 23 practice. And I love it because every time I go through it, I am reminded of the nature of sheep, and it feels very different every time. So the first time I went through it, I feel like I was frustrated that I was a sheep. And I was like, why are you the shepherd and I'm the sheep and we're in a shadow of death and I don't want to be here? And it was I just felt downcast, downtrodden, like upset. And the Lord's word consistently revealed to me that he confides in the people that he loves and in the people that seek him. And I found that so intimate that the Lord who knows all would confide in me, like would trust me with his covenant. And every time we go back through Psalm 23, I'm reminded of the nature of my relationship with Christ. I think the second time I went through, I was feeling very much like, all right, I'm a sheep. I'm good with that now. But why am I in the back of the herd? Like, do you remember that I'm back here? And just feeling very kind of melting into the rest. And most recently, when I've been going through Restore, feeling very much like, all right, I'm on top, but feeling kind of silly, like popping up like, all right, Jesus, you're the shepherd, but like, do you know where we're going? Can I help? Like, do you need this? And he's consistently, every time, again, the consistency of his character is, let me shepherd you. Let me love you and lead you and just be a sheep. Just be with me, be with my people, be with the body, and listen to my word. God wants me to do less because I like to do a lot and fill my schedule. And really, the truth of what God wants us to do is exist with him, to abide with him, to rest with him and allow him to do all other things. The hope that I now have for the future is that in heaven, in this time that we'll be with him unending, it's not just we won't see evil or we won't do evil. I have a hope that my mind won't even remember evil. It won't remember the things that I experienced, the things I did, the things that were done to me. My hope is that God's goodness outweighs all of it, and I won't even have thought of that anymore. So here and now, in the very temporary space that we have, where we know of him, but we aren't with him the same way that we will be in heaven, he calls me to fill in that gap, to be in communion with him until we can be in his presence. And that is a very sweet, very tender call from God to just sit with him and listen for him.